Well, things are about to get a little spooky here on In the Know. Cut off from the outside world by its remote location and shunned by all who know its forbidding and sinister reputation, Hill House has remained empty and silent, except for the daily visits of its grumbling caretaker, Mrs. Dudley. Its isolation is broken by the arrival of Dr. Montague, who will be played by Matthew. We also have Rachel here, who will be playing Mrs. Dudley. Now, first, Matthew, let's get into your character. Why is Dr. Montague going into the Hill House in the first place?
Well, he has heard a lot of stories about Hill House, and this is his first time going there. He wants to write the definitive psychic investigation book, how to do it and what to look for. But he feels that this house is the most active house he could ever see. Then that's why he's there.
Wow. Rachel, tell us a little bit about your character, Mrs. Dudley, how she's been there.
Yes, so one of the lines is Mrs. Dudley and her husband, Mr. Dudley, have been the caretakers for Hill House for as long as anyone can remember. And you can interpret that as you will. But she very much is a no-nonsense woman. She very much only does what she agreed to do, something that is very often poked fun at by Dr. Montague and the rest of the investigators.
And now tell us a little bit about the adaptation of Haunting of Hill House that the Lab Theater has in store for us.
So, I know Matt had mentioned just before we came on the air, he wasn't as familiar with the book, but it's basically, if you are a fan of the Shirley Jackson novel, it is the novel placed right on stage. They cut out a few things, like in the beginning before they get to the house, but it is everything that happens at the house, basically straight from the novel to the stage.
Yes.
And for those of you that don't know, this is a horror novel, correct?
Yes, it's one of the earlier horror novels, and it very much plays on the more psychological elements of horror, using a lot of sound and lights, and we very much are putting that into our interpretation.
How do you guys prepare for a horror kind of live play?
Well, you have to remain in the moment very much, because you have to, the reactions are what make it work. We finally came into contact with the 8th member of our cast. Normally it's going to say in the program that there's 7 members of the cast. There's an 8th member of the cast, the house itself. And we've been learning to be just as uncomfortable as we can with our set.
Yeah. Wow, that sounds very exciting. If you guys are looking for some Halloween plans, of course, you have to check out this show here. All of that information is on your screen there, so take a picture, take a screenshot, whatever you need to do to remember it.